For millions of South Indians, filter coffee, it isn't simple caffeine. It is morning, it is home, it is family. It is that unmistakable aroma filling the kitchen. And now, the same experience is finding a growing audience in America. That's right. In Atlanta, entrepreneurs of South Indian origin, they are building cafes and pop-ups around the filter coffee. Rani Coffee Roasters opened its cafe in November 2025 and the response has been strong. The traditional hot Madras coffee, it is particularly popular. And then comes the performance. The coffee is poured from a tumbler into the dabara from a height. That familiar pulling motion, right? That froth, that sound, that visual. For somebody from South India, it can feel like home. For somebody trying it for the first time, it can feel completely new. Well, the story does not stop in Atlanta, by the way. There are filter coffee pop-ups, home cafes, new version using oat milk, and even filter coffee-inspired drinks appearing in high-end restaurants too. Well, a New York's Sema, for example, filter coffee has been used in cocktail creation. And that tells us something very fascinating about migration here. Immigration doesn't just take jobs to another country. They take food, they take music, language, traditions, memory, and eventually, those things become part of the culture around them. The filter coffee story is really a story about how Indian culture travels. It begins as something deeply personal. Then a community adopts it, then outsiders try it, and eventually it becomes a trend. So perhaps the biggest sign that South Indian filter coffee has arrived in America is not simply that Indians are drinking it. It is simply that people with no connection to South India, they are lining up to try it. And sometimes that's how culture wins. Not through a campaign, not through a policy, but one cup at a time. If you're planning to buy a home in America, well, here's the first thing you need to understand. There is no single American housing market anymore. There are effectively two. A wealthy buyer with cash and equity is living in one market. A first-time buyer dependent on mortgage is living in another. Economists describe this as a K-shaped market basically. At the top of the K, luxury housing is still seeing strong demand. Wealthy buyers are affording expensive properties. Well, older homeowners, they may have maybe decades of home equity. Cash buyers can move quickly, but at the bottom of the K, well, first-time buyers are struggling. According to sources, first-time buyers at just 21% of home purchases, and that's a historic low. Reason is simple here. Mortgage rates. During the low rate era, millions of Americans locked in mortgages around 2.5% to 4%. Today, new borrowers are locking at rates closer to 6% to 7% range. And that creates a huge psychological barrier if you see. Well, why would somebody sell a home with a 3% mortgage only to buy another home with a mortgage about 6.5%? Well, that is the lock-in effect. People stay where they are. Inventory remains limited, prices stay elevated, and new buyers, they struggle to enter the market. Well, for Indian American professionals, specifically those working in expensive tech hubs, this creates a very difficult calculation. You might earn a six-figure salary, but a six-figure salary does not automatically make maybe $1 million home affordable to you. In places such as San Jose, Seattle, Austin, and New York, the income required to comfortably afford a house here, it can be extremely high. And then there is competition. You aren't always competing against another first buyer. You may be competing against somebody with cash, somebody with a large down payment, somebody selling another property to fund the purchase. So what should the buyer do? The answer isn't necessarily buy at any cost. Sometimes the smarter question is, what does renting cost me as compared to owning one? In some major tech markets, renting can substantially be cheaper than a full monthly cost of owning a property at current mortgage rate. And if you already own a house with a low mortgage rate, that property can be as powerful as financial asset. You may choose to prevent that low-cut financing rather than giving it up. Some NRIs, they are also looking beyond US residential property altogether, by the way. Commercial real estate, Indian real estate, NRE or FCNR deposit, other investment. Well, the point is not one choice is always right. Well, the point is, don't mistake a huge salary for automatic affordability. The American housing market in 2026 rewards people who already have capital and equity. Well, for first time buyers, the game is much harder, and that is why understanding the market before signing a mortgage may be more important than ever before.